Think we're live. Just give me a second here. Just double check. Um, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Okay. Grab that here. We're gonna do this real quick. What's up, everyone? How we all doing? I think everyone is filing in here to the stream, or should be filing into the stream here. If you guys are live, I'm gonna tweet it out real quick. So give me a second. And then we'll see if we can get more people in here. Looking for Curtis as well. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section as we gear this up. Sorry for this. It was busy trade deadline day, as you guys know. Even if the Suns weren't the most active, I was having a busy day. Let me get this. Oh, nope, that is not it. Where is the stream? Here it is. The share. 1 second. Copy. Boom. There we go. Ding. And boom. Well, like I said, guys, this is absolutely not the greatest for the Phoenix Suns. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to rant about with this team here. As unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, once again, we saw the Phoenix Suns not do what they were supposed to do. And almost, I won't lie to you guys, lost Kevin Durant. As we see new reports coming in, everybody freaking out. Yeah, I don't know where Curtis is. Where's Curtis, King Nacho? I don't know. I don't know where Curtis is. Trying to get my boy Curtis in here. I texted him. Hopefully he hops in through the stream at some point. We were discussing breaking down the Nurkic trade that did happen. So if you guys did miss that, go check that out. But like I mentioned, Yusuf Nurkic was moved. But the Suns, ladies and gentlemen, the Suns almost got into some treacherous waters. Like I mentioned, they did make two moves ultimately at the trade deadline. They did trade for Nick Richards. They did trade away Josh Okogie and 3 second-round picks for Nick Richards. But they traded that 2031 pick. They got nothing in return, ladies and gentlemen. They got 3 future firsts that they thought they would use to get trade on Bradley Beal. But no. That did not happen. They could not. They could not get Jimmy Butler. They could not get a deal done for him. They had no moves. They couldn't get Bradley Beal's contract off the team. Then they decided to pivot to try to trade Kevin Durant, potentially for Jimmy Butler. Come on, man. Come on. Absolutely ridiculous. Can't sell the franchise on trading a superstar who's going to help them out. And now the Suns are put in a treacherous waters. We saw from recent reports, I just saw from Crispy Haynes coming out that the Timberwolves were a team trying to get Kevin Durant. We saw Kevin Durant possibly go to the Grizzlies. There's going to be a lot of teams interested in Kevin Durant. And I don't see this Kevin Durant, Devin Booker fiasco lasting longer than this season, specifically due to the fact that they didn't make any more smaller, marginal moves on the edges. I would have loved to see this team trade Grayson Allen. If we're not going to start if we're not going to start Bradley Beal, if this guard lineup isn't going to work, why is Grayson Allen on the roster? Why can't we get another wing? Why can't we get a backup big? What's the holdup on that deal? If Tyus Jones is not re-signing, now Tyus Jones could be re-signing. That's why the Phoenix Suns are keeping him on this roster. But if Tyus Jones, someone you guaranteed a starting job, is not playing great in the starting job of late, why are we keeping him, not trading for extra draft capital to try and compete around Devin Booker and Kevin Durant? Clearly, there's some frustration with this team. We've seen there's a locker room type of stuff. Everybody freaking out. It's just tough. It's just tough. I don't know how this team is going to find any holes. I don't know how they're going to fix their issues. Realistically, I don't know how they're going to figure out anything. I don't know where Curtis is. I'm trying to figure out where Curtis is, my guys. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to get Curtis in here. I don't know where he is. He's disappeared. He was here earlier for the video, but he's disappeared to the Shadow Realm. I don't know where Curtis is. I'm trying to get him in here. But like I said, Suns fans, this is not good. Yes, we got off Yusuf Nurkic's contract. That is good. But that is the only benefit in all of this, as even though the Suns got off his contract, they didn't get that much back in return. I'm seeing some comments. The lineup, Andrew, I appreciate your optimism, but it's not doing much. Misic is 6'3" once again. They get a small guard. You need a guard that can play off ball, can be a secondary ball handler, can be a little bit better defensive. Alex Caruso comes to mind, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Caruso would be one of those names that I think they should get, but no. Curtis Jones! Where's Curtis? I don't know. Hopefully he comes back. Hopefully he comes back. Hopefully we'll see him. But we'll keep an eye out on anything. But like I mentioned, Kevin Durant not traded, was not sent away, not gone, which is good. Which is good. But the silver lining is that most likely he will be gone next season. And you're basically just delaying the inevitable and delaying the stall with Devin Booker. Now, personally, if I was the Phoenix Suns, this is what I would have done if I were the GM. If I were James Jones, if I was Matt Ishbia, if I was Matt Borosine, if I was anybody in the front office, this is what I would do, right, ladies and gentlemen? This is what I would do. Is the first plan of attack is to trade Yusuf Nurkic away, right? We saw Yusuf Nurkic get moved. And that's what needed to happen. He was making $18 million. He was the second highest paid player on this Suns team, but he needed to get moved. He got moved, right? From Misic and Martin. And look at Misic, look at Martin. I'm not that mad. Martin can be a solid defender, a little bit bigger in size, fits into the three a little bit better than Josh Okogie. So there's the plus. You traded away a defensive player. You got Cody and Josh Okogie. You got Cody Martin, who I think is a little bit better for the fit for the Suns as a size fit, right? You got Misic, right? You add another guard. Why does this team need more guards? I get it. You wanted to get off Yusuf Nurkic's contract. That's totally fine, ladies and gentlemen. I understand that part. But why were none of the other guards moved? Why is Grayson Allen, who is making $15 million and playing the same role as Bradley Beal, still on this roster? Why is Tyus Jones, a undersized point guard, still on this roster for trading for another undersized point guard? These moves aren't connecting. They're not making sense. And I get it. I understand. You wait to next off season, you have a little bit more flexibility. Why waste this capital just to make moves to ultimately give you the 8th seed and then have Kevin Durant still ask out? I understand those concerns. But if you want to keep Devin Booker happy, if you want to keep Kevin Durant happy, I think that's what you have to do, ladies and gentlemen. And you could argue that you could bring Beal back into the starting lineup, right? Take Tyus out, put Beal back in. That's been the major concern. So now you got Beal. Now you got Booker. Now you got Dunn. Now you got Richards. Where's your other fit? Where's your other fit? We run it and Durant, right? That's your 5. Off the bench, you got Grayson, you got Royce, you got Tyus. You still have holes, ladies and gentlemen. You still have holes. And I agree, Phoenix Suns #1 fan. I agree that trading Yusuf Nurkic for anything is good. And we talked about that, me and Curtis, in our recent video. We desperately talked about that. But you trade Yusuf Nurkic away, you get 2 contracts on. Now the Suns are at 15 contracts. The Suns haven't had 15 contracts this whole season. If you've been watching these games, you've been paying attention, you've been keeping an eye out on this team, you realize when you pay attention to this Suns roster here, right? When you watch these games, when you see them, there's some clear holes. And they didn't address any of those holes. You are still going to see Mason Plumlee trot out onto that court as a veteran backup big man for this team. And we have seen how Mason Plumlee has looked as a back big so far since the Suns have returned with Yusuf Nurkic being out and since Nick Richards has been acclimated to this offense. Have you seen any growth in this Suns team in the front court with taking out Yusuf Nurkic and supplementing him with Mason Plumlee? No, you haven't. So what makes you think that doing that move and subtracting Nurkic from the equation and not replacing it at all is going to benefit you at all? It's not. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. There has been no benefit. And the worst part about it is that some of these guys have value on this roster. Some of these guys have value. You're going to tell me that a guy like Grayson Allen, yes, I understand he's having down numbers. Yes, I understand he's not the best defender, but he is a solid 3-point shooter. One, if you plug into your starting lineup or have as a six man, depending on what your starting lineup looks like, can provide so much offense for this unit, for a contending team. He's not a necessary fit. Why is he still on the roster? Where are the athletic wings? Where is the athleticism? Don't we see versus the Oklahoma City Thunder and versus the Portland Trailblazers team, our last two contests, see teams with athletic wings run us out the gym, absolutely take care of us? Didn't the Portland Trailblazers, Scoot Henderson, say post-game when the Blazers beat the Suns for the second time in a back-to-back out of their doubleheader in overtime, that Tumani Kamara was the leading piece for their defense in winning that game? Who got traded from the Phoenix Suns to that team, right? Let's think. Tumani. That's right. Tumani was just a throw-in for that trade. Guys, I don't know. I genuinely do not know. I it's like Big Merc just said. I'm looking through the chat. I know the chat's been popping off. The team is good, just not championship caliber, and that's the thing. And King Nacho, I see your point of what's the point, but I see the Suns fans seeing this in multiple areas, right? I think the best scenario for this Suns team, right, would be keeping Kevin, keeping Devin, shipping out Beal, and reworking the roster, right? That was the ultimate dream. That's what they sold us on for Jimmy Butler. But when you don't get Jimmy Butler, and that plan falls through, regardless if it's Beal doesn't want to waive his no trade clause to go to Miami, the team that wants to trade for Bradley Beal, he doesn't want to waive his no trade clause for all that stuff. That is front office issues right there. That is front office management. And they failed Kevin Durant to the fact that they almost traded him for Kevin Durant or for Jimmy Butler, excuse me. They almost traded him for the Jimmy Butler. Like, I don't see what a reset with Kuminga is. And for everyone that's talked about this, right? This is the thing. I don't understand how you can convince anybody in the Phoenix area that's a Phoenix Suns fan that in 2021, when you went to the finals and you had a team with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Ayton, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, right? That team obviously was a championship contender. It could build to be a championship contender, right? You felt that. But you felt that the move for Kevin Durant was going to be that home run swing to put you right back into those conversations, right? So you're telling me you want to give up on all that hopes and dreams for Jonathan Kuminga and Jimmy Butler? That is not going to help us at all. It is going to force Devin Booker to want out, and it is going to force you to have not one, but now two untradeable contracts in Jimmy Butler and Bradley Beal on this roster. Because if Jimmy Butler got traded, probably would have gotten that $121 million extension, and he'd be making that money on the Suns. So now you got $50 Bradley Beal with a no trade clause that wants to stay in Phoenix, doesn't want to go anywhere else, would just rather stay here. And now you got Jimmy Butler aging, looking, not playing in the regular season, depressed. And then you got to trade Booker. And then what do you have? Two disgruntled stars, two frustrated wash stars that you can't get off of. And now as Phoenix fans, you're absolutely frustrated. So I'm 100% emphatic that they did not make a move trading away Kevin Durant. I think that's the right idea. Now, obviously, are the Kevin Durant rumors going to spark going into the offseason? For sure. Is it 100% that Kevin Durant is gone? No. But is it going to be? Most likely. You want to know why? Because you tried to trade him without talking to him about it. You tried to trade him without talking to Devin Booker about it. You thought that your best availability to get out of this hole that you were in was trading your best player to then ultimately then look at your second best player and say, well, that's the best we could do. What do you want to do? Do you want to stay with this, or do you want us to trade you? What do you think he's going to say? It's just absolutely a disgrace. The front office, I've had a lot of words for this front office, right? I've had a lot of words for this front office, dating back to before I was even on Suns Digest. I can tell you, the day that Bradley Beal was traded to the Golden State Warriors, I was having my graduation party. I just graduated college. I went to my car because I was doing TikTok back then and yelled at my phone for a minute and a half about why this was the dumbest move that the Suns could have possibly thought of. Why? I get it. Chris Paul is old. But why would you trade him for another player who is basically the same type as Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal? Needs the ball in his hands. Suns front office. Didn't we just see Kevin Durant in Brooklyn with two ball dominant guards in Kyrie Irving and James Harden? What was the bright brain pot? What was the bright idea? What was the signal in your brain? The idea, the little light bulb that popped off and went poof and thought, you know what? Kevin Durant with Kyrie Irving and James Harden didn't work in Brooklyn. So I think Kyrie Irving with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal is going to work here. Huh? Huh? And you could argue too that if you had Tumani, if you had Aiton, then that's also an issue as well, right? Because not only is the Beal trade bad, but that trade's bad as well. Because the Suns didn't need Jimmy Butler, and that's the main sticking point that needs to be made here. The Suns didn't need Jimmy Butler. You want to know what the Suns need? The Suns need defense. The Suns need defensive pressure at the wing. They need someone that can take up and stand up and be able to guard these other teams' best players so that guys like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant can handle the other stuff offensively. That's why they needed Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler was the only name, the only guy that presented himself that would fit that need and would fit the building type of what the Suns wanted. And Bradley Beal was the only way to get that done. But you're telling me next season, if this option presents to yourself, which I guess at this point, maybe a KD re-sign is probably damaged. But if you could physically sign a way to get Kevin Durant on this team, if you could physically get it done, which I'm not going to rule it out 100% because in my still heart, I believe that the Phoenix Suns should still be trying to keep Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant declined all these trades because he wants to stay in Phoenix. You should be telling him our goal is to drop under the second apron, which it has been since the offseason, but was unable to be done because you had even worse contracts like Nazir Little and stuff on the roster. You need to drop under the second apron. That is your main goal, and you can do that this season. And that's the best part. The trade that you made for Yusuf Nurkic, both of those contract and Caleb Martin and Vasily Micic can both be waived, right? So that would free the Suns up with around, I believe, that $18 million in salary cap right there, right? That $18 to $19 million is completely gone off. So now you only need to cut right around $10 million for this Suns team. Now, if they traded Grayson Allen and they had done a trade for Obi Toppin, someone that I thought would have been a perfect fit for this team, I wrote about it over on Brightside. I think that a team like the Phoenix Suns would have saved some money there, could have traded Tyus, and there's $6 million right there. So after all those moves, you would only have to cut as the Phoenix Suns $4 million next season. And you know how many veteran minimum contracts you have on this roster? You got Damian Lee, you got Bull, you got Monte Morris, you got Mason Plumlee, and you also have Tyus Jones. Now, Tyus would obviously be traded at that, but you have 4 veteran minimums. So you don't even have to waive all 4 of those minimums. You could keep, re-sign, still keep some of those guys. But you only have to do is sacrifice 2 of those minimums. And unfortunately for Suns fans, unfortunately for Damian Lee, he hasn't been given that run as he's been injured. And for Bull, as Suns fans ourselves, is in the doghouse. So I think those 2 guys could be taken off. But even if you kept Plumlee, even if you kept Monte, even if you kept Toppin, Dunn, Oso, Royce, Katie, Booker, Beal, Richards, and Monte and Plumlee, you could sell to Kevin Durant, hey, this is our 10. We're obviously not keeping Bradley Beal, but we now have the flexibility to trade Bradley Beal to another team in which he has the whole offseason to decide if he wants to raid his no trade clause, to then get 2 or 3 guys to fill in those holes for you, Kevin Durant. Now, it's not going to be a superstar. It's not going to be that it guy, but we're going to get you tradable contracts. And by getting those tradable contracts, then you at least put something around Booker, KD, Ryan Dunn, and this team. It still makes guys then like Toppin and Royce O'Neal possibly expendable, depending on what you get back in the trade to find more holes. And you could see the Suns really retooling, reflying on the fly with this team, and they can set themselves up pretty solid. Now, that's a pipe dream. That's a pipe dream. That is not going to happen. That would be me waking up in La La Land tomorrow dreaming about that, because maybe that's the hypothetical want for this Suns team, but we all know that's not what's going to happen. Unfortunately, Suns fans, we might have to brace for the worst. We might have to brace for the worst here, as it's getting really ridiculous. D Rock reposted my stuff. Thank you, D Rock. Appreciate you. If D Rock, if you are here or in the chat, I do appreciate it if you are here. If not, no worries. But yeah, Suns fan base has been going pretty nuclear, going pretty berserk over the last couple hours. Like I said, the rumors were wild, spiraling, going out of control here with this Phoenix Suns team. We saw, you know, possibly Kevin Durant, possibly Jimmy Butler, possibly Kuminga, possibly all this other stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, man. I don't know what to talk. I don't know what to take of it. I don't know what to discuss. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Once again, like I said, the Suns now have 15 guys under roster. So if you thought it was hard for guys to get playing time now, is Misic gonna play? Is Cody Martin gonna play? How many minutes gonna play? Is it gonna take from Ryan's Dunn minutes? What are the impacts of this? That's something to keep an eye on as a Phoenix Suns fan here as we gear up. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say. Hardest strength of schedule left in the remaining of the season. Don't have a backup center. Still have holes in this roster. Have duplicate players that play similar roles. I genuinely do not know. The only thing that I wish upon all of us, and I'm seriously saying this because I don't want this to happen, but my worst fear is that the Phoenix Suns, right? They can't trade Kevin Durant. They can't trade Bradley Beal, so they're forced to trade KD. They're forced to trade Devin Booker. And after they do both those things, right? They trade KD, they trade Devin Booker. They get back some value, but they're stuck with Beal. And it's the 2019 Wizards, once again, the team that was the Bradley Beal's squad before he got traded to the Suns, but just an older version of Bradley Beal with whatever pieces the Suns get back. Big Merc's asking a question, who's better, Caleb or Cody? I would say Caleb is more proven. And then Cody, I would say he's a little bit better than him. But Cody definitely is not bad. Cody was a guy that a lot of teams around the league definitely had interest in. I think for the Hornets here, this type of this type of deal gets done because they traded Mark last night. They needed a center. They don't have a center because obviously they traded us Richards. But Cody was definitely a guy pieced at by a lot of other teams. I know specifically, not specifically, but a team that I thought that would have been a really nice fit, excuse me, would have been the Bucks, as he could have provided some wing depth. That they had a tradable contract in Pat Connaught, and I saw that talked around. Miles or Mason, I don't want to. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, bros. I genuinely do not know. We see Kevin Durant. If you guys want to get the latest on the Kevin Durant saga, we saw the Timberwolves were a team that were interested in trading for Durant late at the buzzer here. They were one of the teams trying to get into him. Obviously, Anthony Edwards having that connection with Durant makes sense. I wouldn't put it past them trying to go for it. And if you're the Suns, that's kind of what you're probably gearing up for going into the trade next season. I mean, it's just becoming more and more apparent. It's just that unfortunately, there's 12 teams competing for a Western Conference playoff spot, right? There's 12 teams, and the Suns might not be one of those teams that make the play-in. Meanwhile, the may not make the play-in or even playoffs in general. And yeah, that's really, really scary to think because if that's the case, then both of them are gone. There's no way you can convince me that both of them stay. And oh man, oh, I just I can't, man. I can't with this team. I'm happy they moved off Nurkic. I'm very happy that they moved off Yusuf Nurkic, regardless of what they got. But it's just been bad. It's just been bad, man. It's just been bad. And there's no bright spot in it either. There's no silver lining at all. There's no I don't know who we were supposed to get for Bradley Beal, but if you think back about it, Chris Paul got traded for Jordan Poole, so I'm sure Jordan Poole was probably on the table, which again, is Jordan Poole a great fit, a great player to put alongside Devin Booker? Are we in similar concerns? 100%. But if that's the case, if you could get Jordan Poole, not only is Jordan Poole on a cheaper contract, not only is he younger than Bradley Beal, but he has the no trade clause. That is the whole hindrance in all of this, ladies and gentlemen. If Bradley Beal didn't have a no trade clause, right? If he had no trade clause, uh-huh, they would have already had Jimmy Butler. No, I'm saying they could have tried to get Jordan Poole if they wanted to for CP. Sorry. I don't know why I said Beal. For CP. But like I mentioned, getting off a Jordan Poole contract, even if compared to Bradley Beal, if that's what you would have traded CP for, yes, Bradley Beal is probably a better player, but is aging, has a no trade clause, still doesn't fit. Jordan Poole doesn't fit, is younger, has potential to be moved, has no trade clause. Like, you can't convince me, right? Bruce, how good does Chris Paul look now? I mean, he's pretty damn good with the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, not only did the Suns fall for this beat, but the Rockets did too when they sold him to the Thunder, and then he rebounds back with the Thunder and played perfect with the Suns. The Suns did the same thing. Yeah, he didn't have a good year with the Warriors last year, but that wasn't a good fit for him. And this year with Wemby, he's playing pretty solid off the bench. Yeah, they just traded for De'Aaron Fox, but I don't see that taking a digression CP's role at all, as they're going to run with those guards. But I don't understand. I think a Poole trade would have been better looking at it hindsight. Even in the moment, I probably would have thought it would have been better just because at least with Poole, there's a no trade clause. So if you wanted, like for example, say you had Jordan Poole on this team instead of Bradley Beal, and KD goes, I want Jimmy, and Jimmy wants to come here, you then go, okay. Now, obviously, you're trying to trade Jordan Poole to the Heat. They probably don't want Jordan Poole. They got Tyler Hero. They got all those pieces. But you're gonna tell me that a third, fourth, fifth team isn't gonna jump in for Jordan Poole if the Suns are offering those first round picks? 100% they are. 100% they are. A team like Utah would be like, okay, we'll take Jordan Poole. Fuck it. Fuck it. We'll take him. I don't care. Get him on my team. You're offering me the 2031 first? 100%. Let's do it. That, the whole reason that Jimmy Butler is not a Phoenix Sun is not for Bradley Beal's play, not for Bradley Beal and anything like that. It is the no trade clause on Bradley Beal's contract. It is due to the fact that out of all 30 teams, Bradley Beal most likely probably wanted to go to two or three. Those two or three teams said, hot, we can't trade for you, or we're not trading for you unless you give us all this capital. And the Suns said, no, we're not doing that. And that's where it ultimately comes down to. And the only fault at that is the Suns front office for trading for Bradley Beal. That's the only problem that is with it, is the Suns front office trading for Bradley Beal. If you trade for a player with a no trade clause, the player would have been traded. Regardless if even if Beal had a no trade clause. If Beal doesn't have the no trade clause, he's being shipped to Brooklyn, Utah, Chicago. He's being shipped to wherever the Suns are shipping him to get Jimmy Butler. You can't tell me. You can't tell me that no team was interested in Bradley Beal. Yes, is Bradley Beal not worth $50 million? 100%. Is he a third option? 100%. But he can play on a team that doesn't have two ball handlers that need the ball in their hands to score and be a successful, positive asset. You pair him alongside a big that is defensive, gets rebounds, and needs a shooter out on the wing. He is a perfect, perfect scorer for a team that needs that. Look at Milwaukee. Why do you think Milwaukee was so interested? Why do you think the talks with Milwaukee were possible? Milwaukee wanted to move off Chris Middleton, who again was aging, was old. but want an upgrade on offense. And Bradley Beal brings an upgrade on offense compared to Chris Middleton. He's not as injury prone. He can fit in at that slot, and he can play perfect around Giannis. I don't know why it didn't happen, but I don't know. The Heat obviously didn't want him. Makes sense. I wished that he went to the Heat 4 seasons ago instead of Phoenix, so we didn't have to deal with this mess. Really do. Really do. But yeah, overall, trade deadline was pretty crazy. Not just Suns related, looking at other things like we mentioned, Luka Doncic getting moved to the Lakers, Anthony Davis. Saw Brandon Ingram getting traded to the Raptors, which I thought was a little questionable. Speaking of the Bucks, they did trade Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. There'll be more moves on the buyout market as well, but once again, the Suns have 15 roster spots, which means the roster is completely full, which means that if they even wanted to add somebody on the market, they'd have to waive somebody. So for the Suns to make any additions, someone would have to leave, and they weren't willing to trade any of those players for second round capital or for salary dumps. What makes you think they're just going to waive them to then pay them on the side to make a necessary move? Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, don't expect more moves from the Suns. Really, really questionable decision making and thinking here. Still no backup center. Still holes in this point guard room with needing better defensive players. Still holes at needing more athletic wings and rebounding. It's just questionable. And once again, you look at teams in the Western Conference, right? San Antonio traded for De'Aaron Fox, didn't give up any of their young talent. They're definitely going to be on the rise. Sacramento, yes, they traded De'Aaron Fox, but got Zach LaVine, got Jonas Valanciunas. It just picked up Jake LaRavia. Don't necessarily know how much that moves the needle for you, but they ultimately got, I think, a little bit better in some holes that they filled. The Suns filled one hole by getting rid of one player, but didn't fill the hole respectfully. Just plugged and played and said, "All right, we got rid of the team cancer. We're done." Yes, I do believe that they would have gotten a better trade if they told all 30 teams, but the reason they didn't tell all 30 teams is because they didn't want the league to know, which I don't understand. But yeah, you look at other teams in the West. The Lakers got better adding Luca, regardless of the fit, by adding Mark Williams. You look at the Clippers. They made some marginal moves. Don't necessarily know if they got better, but they made moves to get better, adding Bogdanovich, adding Drew Eubanks as a backup center. Um, the Warriors traded for Jimmy Butler. They were the one team that Jimmy said, I don't want to go to, but when he was put in a position where you're not going to Phoenix, he said, all right, I want to play basketball. I guess I'll go to Golden State. But they're another team that got better. And it's just, it's just very, very defeating, man. The Mavericks, too, even though they traded Luca, Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving is going to be better than what we have cooking up. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm repeating myself, but I'm honestly at a loss for words. I've talked about this Suns team honestly too much today at this point with, breaking everything down in this trade deadline. I've been doing work not only for Digest Media here on Suns Digest, but doing some other stuff as well. But yeah, they can't pick up a buyout player, Coach Dreadhead, because they don't have a contract open. They traded Nurkic for Misic and Martin, and they did not waive anybody. Therefore, they have 15 guys on the roster, which means they would have to waive someone to pick someone up. And who are we waiving? And who are we adding? I think the only need we'd add at center is center. I don't know any valuable centers on the buyout market. Mobamba, not valuable enough to move a mountain for me to waive somebody. Mason Plumlee is going to be the backup center. We have to accept the fact that Mason Plumlee is the backup center for this season. When he was signed to be the third center for this team, he is now going to be playing the backup center. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I'm ultimately at a loss for words. Clearly, very frustrated with this team. Very, very frustrated with this team. Just terrible asset management from the front office, not only in the Bradley Beal trade, not only in the Tumani Kamara DeAndre Ayton trade, not only in the trade here where they get rid of Yusuf Nurkic and still don't find a hole at backup center. You're telling me, right? Like, I gotta get prepared for this, but you're telling me, right, that Bol, a player that we signed to a veteran minimum contract, that Suns fans want to see out on the floor, who has not played this season, but when he has played, has shown glimpses in his run because other players have gotten the nod over him. Guys that shouldn't be playing over him, getting the nod over him when Nurkic was suspended and we didn't have Nick Richards on the roster. Number one, what was the point of re-signing Bol if he's not going to play and he's not going to be used in a trade? Number two, if we knew we weren't going to use Bol post-trade deadline in any of these lineups and we're not bringing him back and we have a hole in the center room, why did we not address the need by moving a tradable contract to a team like the Blazers, the Jazz, the Wizards for any type of person back? Anybody. Anybody. Why did we not do that? Why is Bol on this roster at this very moment if he is not going to get any playing time and do exactly what I do when watching the Phoenix Suns? He just gets the luxury of doing it sitting on the bench next to Coach Budenholzer. And that's no knock on Bol because I want to see him play on this team. I want to see him thrive in the NBA. But it's absolutely ridiculous on the fact that there's players on this roster with extra second round picks that we could move to potentially help out in any possible way of filling a hole to show to Kevin Durant that, hey, we want to give you something, but no, no, no. Why? Why? Why would we do a trade like that? Why would we do something like that? I don't know. Let me know. Yeah, I am a little tired today, bro. Sif. Unfortunately, it's been a busy trade deadline. I've been doing a lot of stuff, not only on here, but with other creators as well. I did a podcast with my boy Eamon, which I'm super excited about. That's gonna be dropping tomorrow, which I'm super excited to talk to kind of discuss and kind of break out. Yeah, Damian Lee's still on the books, Coach Dreadhead. Damian Lee is still on this team. He's still on this roster. He's still on this roster. And with Damian Lee, I have a little bit of a soft spot because he got hurt last year, right? And last year's roster compared to this year's roster is two different things. Last year's roster was all veteran minimums because that's all you could sign. So it was kind of finding those guys on the edges, right? And that's what you felt with Lee. He got hurt. Hope that he could make that push back this year. But then you signed Tyus and Monte. So what, like, you're not even giving him the opportunity to be like, here, D Lee, go out there and play for 5 minutes and try to do something. You don't even give them that opportunity. You don't even give them that opportunity. It's just, and that's the thing. Like King Nacho's saying is, it's like I feel bad because dead weight, like it's dead weight in a way where, like, if you're not gonna use it, it's dead weight. If it can be used, right? Like if it can be utilized, regardless if it's a trade, because look at these trades, right? Look at these trades, right? Like for example, you saw Luka Doncic get traded for Anthony Davis. The Jazz were like, "Oh, we'll take Jalen Hood-Schifino." You saw the Jimmy Butler trade yesterday, right? The Raptors were like, "Oh, we'll take this guy," or the Pistons were like, "Oh, we'll take Lindy Waters and Josh Richardson," right? Like they're like, "Oh, we'll take this guy. Oh, we'll take this guy. Just throw us a pick. We'll take this guy," because you know what they're gonna do with that said player? They're acquiring that said player. They're not even legitimately keeping said player. That player is not even flying to that arena. He is legitimately getting a call saying, "Hey, you've been traded to the Washington Wizards," and said player is going, "Shit." Like Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson, perfect example. The Washington Wizards are making moves, right? They trade away a two-way player that could arguably be an NBA ready guy in Jared Butler to a Sixers team who wants to get young pieces. They're going to convert him to a contract, right? They already view that as a contract. But Reggie Jackson's a net negative for them. Why would they want net Reggie Jackson? They don't want to compete. They're tanking. But why would the Wizards want Reggie Jackson? They're just going to waive him. He's just going to go to the free agent pool. And regardless if someone picks him up or not, why are the Suns not doing that with contracts like Damian Lee, like Bol Bol, Mason Plumlee? At this point, Monte is better than Tyus in what he can bring for this team, not in the overall aspect of a player. Tyus is a better player than Monte, but Monte brings what the Suns need. He prevents defense, he provides playmaking, he provides hustle and hard work. Why are we not rewarding him with playing him at all? Why are we not rewarding with him playing that at all? It's just frustrating. It's frustrating because you see teams like Utah. You're telling me Portland, you're telling me Portland, if you threw in for a second round pick, you got a second round pick from Charlotte today. You had two. You had the Denver one and the one you just got from Charlotte. You're telling me right now that if you throw that over to the Portland Trailblazers for Duop Reith, their fourth string center, they're not going to take it? They're not just going to be like, all right, yeah, sure. Might as well. We're getting some draft capital. Nobody's offering us anything for Duop Reith. We'll just take it. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You could have traded Tyus for more capital too. Like, you're not trading Tyus. Tyus isn't staying. Tyus is leaving. He's on a $3 million deal. You're starting a player that you guaranteed a starting job to that is not going to be here next year for the fact you'd rather keep that promise than go out and win a championship with your roster and put a team around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. That's what we're seeing right now from the front office. They'd rather value the committed word to Tyus Jones on saying, you are a starting point guard because when we signed you, we promised you you're going to start. We're going to take Brad out the lineup, even if that doesn't help. We don't need Reith. We need something. We need something. You're telling me Reith doesn't add anything that Bol Bol doesn't? At least to Budenholzer, Reith is a shooting big. At least Reith is a qualifiable power forward / center that he could play. Thank you, Johnny Ray Lopez. He's exactly earned at least 5 minutes, and they shaft him. They shaft him. Nothing, nothing. And then his reward, you want to know his reward for signing a contract with Phoenix, being in the NBA, sitting on the NBA, on the end of a roster right now? You want to know what his reward is? You want to know what it is? He gets to watch the games on the bench. You're telling me if you asked Bol Bol right now if he'd rather be waived from the Portland Trailblazers and competing for a two-way contract, getting paid $3 million, actually playing the sport of basketball, or sitting in Phoenix, sitting on the bench, which one he would rather do? I guarantee you, he would rather be playing NBA basketball, competing for a two-way contract, or competing for a roster spot in another team, getting paid that $3 million that he signed on that veteran minimum contract that he got waived for, than actually competing and sitting on the bench making $3 million, doing nothing besides smile and doing what I'm doing right now. I am telling you that right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you that right now. And that's absolutely blasphemy. It's absolutely craziness that the front office can't see that with their eyes. They can't open their binoculars and look upon, gaze from everything and see, hmm, hmm, hmm. We have two guys that we re-signed that did absolutely nothing when we're trying to push for a championship. You know what? Keep them on the roster. Oh my god. Oh my god. And like I said, you take Bol Bol, right? You trade him to another team. If he gets waived, he's still getting paid that $3 million and he gets to play basketball, compete for a spot, get an opportunity at least. He doesn't even get sent down to the G League. You see Oso Ighodaro get sent down to the Valley Suns. Bol Bol doesn't even get sent down. It's just, oh my god. It's just, oh my god. At that point, Big Merc, yeah, you can blame the coach. And, oh, trust me, there's been a lot of Budenholzer blame over the last couple of weeks, spewing from me as well as just offensively. He hasn't been a great fit. But at some point, it's the front office. You're telling me Matt Ishbia, the man that can change concession prices, can bring people into his suite for games when he's missing opportunities because he's traveling, can't storm his ass downstairs to James Jones and James Jones's office, look him dead in the eyes, and say, these players are doing absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're sitting on the end of the bench collecting dust. What are we doing with them? Can't grab James Jones by the neck, grab Mike Budenholzer by the neck, walk him into a room, throw him into chairs, sit them down, and look at them and be like, what are we building here? What are we building here? What are we doing? Are we playing these guys? Are we not playing these guys? If we're not playing them, why are they on this roster? Why are they making money? Why are they taking valuable salary money out of my tax that I am paying to push for a championship contender? And you're not going to benefit me in that at all? Come on. Come on. And I'm sorry that I've been ranting. I'm sorry I haven't really been paying attention to chat. This stream is a little bit different than the last couple weekly live streams, and it will be different for the future weekly live streams. It's just ridiculous. And the locker room's turmoil. They're all frustrated. They're all furious. And you want to know why? You want to know why? Because they wanted this to get done. And it's just the last second. All their hopes, all their dreams. Poof. Gone, just like that. 3 o'clock turns. Beal's still in the locker room. Grayson Allen's still there. Tyus is still there. Nurkic is gone, but now you got 2 more guys that you got to feed and play. How do you think KD and Booker are going to like that, having 2 more guys coming into their rotation, trying to take minutes, trying to take shots, trying to take more stuff, when all they need is someone to stand underneath the basket, set them a screen, and go, oh, you missed your jump shot? Boom. Pump fake, up. Oh, you missed your jump shot? Boom. Pump fake, up. Oh, you missed your jump shot? You need me to box out so it doesn't go over there to the corner? Okay. That's all they need. Oh, if Ishbia went with Draymond, Big Merc, Big Merc, Big Merc. If Ishbia traded for Draymond Green, I'm letting you know right now, I would not watch another Phoenix Suns game for the rest of the year. You would have Curtis doing the post games alone, and I'm not joking. I'm genuinely not joking. If Draymond Green had came to the Suns, and there were rumors of him coming to the Suns too. It wasn't completely ruled out. But if he ended up on the Phoenix Suns, I genuinely don't know what I would do. I don't know how I'd react. I know I wouldn't watch any more games. I know that they would have punted the season right then and there by acquiring a player in Draymond Green, as he doesn't bring any winning quality to any team locker room, specifically a team that just traded their best player. What is that going to show you? And yeah, it would be even worse. It honestly would have been even worse. You can't convince me. You can't convince me that a team without Kevin Durant, with Devin Booker, is ever going to have a higher championship ceiling than what a team with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant does at this very moment, regardless of their ages. At this very moment, Kevin Durant is one of the best number 1 options in the NBA, and Devin Booker is one of the best number 2 options in the NBA. And Matt Ishbia has both of those on his team, and both wanting to stay on this team. So, all I have to say, all I have to say is that if that isn't telling, and if it isn't showing of what the fans also want and what this team wants, the front office better get its head in check before next season. It's absolutely ridiculous. But guys, you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support on the channel. I really do appreciate all your guys' love over the last couple of weeks. I hope with the trade deadline, obviously the Butler news and everything will be dying down, but I hope you guys will still be staying in tap and interested in all the Suns news and stuff, because we won't be having any more trade videos relating around this Suns team, but we definitely will be having more content coming out with this team relating to how they finished the second half of the season, kind of looking in depth at some players, going over all of that. And I think it's going to be a really, really questionable, puzzling second half of the year. One that might want to make us rip our hair out of our head by the end of it. But I hope you guys will stick through the journey and enjoy it with me over here as well. Like I said, just because the trade rumors and the trade news is dying down doesn't mean that I'll be turning away or dying away from this channel. So I hope you guys do, if you do care about the Suns, if you are a Suns fan, if you weren't just here for the Suns news, that you do stay up to date on Suns Digest, as Curtis and I really do appreciate all the support. Once again, I'm sorry for no Curtis here. I thought he was here for the stream, but it's all good. But I really do appreciate you guys in, showing your love, showing your support for the channel, for this team, regardless of everything, because even if Kevin Durant gets traded, which I don't want to see happen in the offseason, or when Booker gets traded and stuff, I'm still going to be a Suns fan regardless. I know that thick and thin. I'm still going to appreciate this franchise. And unfortunately, they might have not shown me that I should believe in them and trust in them. But I do have some faith in the back of my head that hopefully, with maybe it's not as bad as we predict second half of the year for the Phoenix Suns. They're able to showcase to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker that they still want to win now. They're able to move out of that first apron. They're able to keep Kevin Durant on this roster by moving off Bradley Beal, and are able to retool things. But ultimately, I think that is a long ask for me, and I don't see that happening in the future. But that's what a dream would be if you were a Suns fan. But like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support on the channel, which has been super, super appreciative. And I do appreciate you guys tuning in. But these streams, like I said, are not just on trade deadline. They are every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, where you guys are. I believe it is around 4 p.m. when I start these streams in Phoenix time. But I do appreciate your all love and support here on the channel, like I said. And I hope you guys, if you did enjoy the stream, hit the like button, enjoy some fun, like my little rants, and find some more details over on Suns Digest. As like I said, we'll have more content coming, more videos, more streams every Thursday, Curtis and I, more breakdowns. Everything will be coming towards you guys, so we'll be on top of it once again. Now that the trade deadline's over, we can kind of look into more stories, kind of look into more players in depth, kind of really analyze this Suns team. So if you're interested in that, that's going to be coming more through as well. We'll have some special guests on Suns Digest, hopefully as well in the future with some of these streams, as that's something that I've been targeting, but I've been a little bit busy. But once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate all your guys' love and support over on Suns Digest. Unfortunately, Suns did get off Houston. Unfortunately, it wasn't the greatest deadline. Suns did not get Jimmy Butler. Suns ultimately didn't retool their roster around KD and Book. They didn't get off Bradley Beal, but they got off Yusuf Nurkic, and that's at least one benefit. Like I said, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate you all. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, and go Boston, and go Suns.